What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. I've been getting lots of people asking about the Dragon's Nest. I do use the Dragon's Nest quite a bit. Now, first off, I want to clarify why it is I use the Dragon's Nest so often versus another defense. Like, right now, for example, the Nimbus just absolutely screams and is a fine choice to use. I use the Dragon's Nest because they're cool, y'all. 100% because they're cool. Now, currently in survival, of course, we've got the big bird meta going on. That, of course, encourages the use of Dragon's Nest because of the Motherly Instinct mod. However, the Dragon's Nest itself is just a beast of a defense. It can be used situationally just about everywhere. So there's very few places where you can't use a Dragon's Nest. Additionally, the Dragon's Nest has those wall hacks, so completely out of line of sight of everything, and your dragons are still going to go down there and attack stuff. So the Dragon's Nest is definitely a super solid defense, and one that you can use just about anywhere in the game. Now, how do you build your Dragon's Nest? Well, you can use kind of the ultimate generic relic setup, and that's what I use. That would be defense rate, anti-melee, and anti-chaos. By having a 10 out of 10 chaos 8 or higher quality defense rate on your Dragon's Nest, then of course you don't have the need for a defense rate shard. This is not a defense that you're really ever going to focus on overcapping. You don't need any more rate. The defense rate mod is going to cover it. And then anti-melee and anti-chaos are two of the toughest mob groups in the entire game, so kind of a go-to as far as stacking increased damage. Now, when it comes to shards, once again, this is the generic setup. So we got defense rate, anti-melee, anti-chaos, and we're going to stack destruction, mass destruction, and then any third shard for that slot. I personally am using Dragon's Haste. Of course, dragons do have to travel from one target to the next. If we have a dragon, say, right here, and our first target is, say, our lovely seamstress here, say the second target is way over here somewhere. Well, that dragon is going to have to travel from the seamstress over to the next target before it can attack again. So getting some movement speed in is kind of a no-brainer. Dragon's Haste, of course, drops in Chaos 1, as does Destruction. And Mass Destruction is one of the easiest and most powerful hypershards to get. Anyone can get it, assuming you have made it really anywhere into Expeditions. All you need is 50 Mastery Stars to get your first one. As far as the later hypershards, a lot of people do focus on the Incursions, which are a great source and a very quick source to get the other hypershards. However, Mass Destruction is the first one you get in Mastery, y'all, so it doesn't require much. 50 stars, so you can do 25 maps in 2-star each one, you could do 50 maps in 1-star each one, or you could do 10 maps and 5-star each one. It's kind of up to you. That will get you your Mass Destruction. Now, this is not something you're going to want to try to go after prior to making it a little ways into the game. Remember, shards are the building blocks of the game, but without the other bases in place, like having defense rate up to the speed cap, a Mass Destruction is not going to bring a ton of value for you. So prioritize the base shards first. Mass Destruction is not going to be like an easy game skip, because if you don't have the other base shards in place, such as defense rate, the value's just not going to be there. Now, as I mentioned, this is the ultimate generic relic with the ultimate generic mods or shard setup. So with that in mind, say you want to mix it up and try something different. And like I mentioned, the Nimbus. Say you want to go Nimbus for a day. Well, you can easily take that Dragon's Nest relic, Mass Destruction and Destruction, and just move it over to your Nimbus. So now you're going to have defense rate, anti-melee, and anti-chaos on a Nimbus, and you're going to use Mass Destruction, Destruction, and any third shard. In this case, I'm using Fleeting Nature. Once again, it comes down to the movement speed. Obviously, it would be better gilded. I don't have this one gilded yet. However, that setup will work on most things in the game. So defense rate, anti-melee, anti-chaos, mass destruction, destruction, whatever third shard you want in the slot. Now, this combination of mods and shards is obviously something that you have to work towards. So what do you do when you're just getting started? Now, first things first, always put your first 20 points of the defense category in Ascension into defense speed. This is going to be true for any damaging defense in the game. This is the most important 20 points. Now, we're going to need a little bit more attack rate. So, say, for example, you don't have 10 out of 10, Chaos 8 or higher defense rate shard yet, you're going to want to work on your defense rate first. Now, let's just say for this example, let's just say this relic is here, but the same would apply if it was any tier. So Dragon's Haste and Destruction, of course, you're going to be able to get at Chaos 1. Now we don't have enough defense rate, so you would want to throw in a defense rate shard. Now, if this shard is gilded, you're going to be at the speed cap for that defense. If this is not a gilded defense rate, then you won't be all the way to the cap, and it may be in your best interest to use any quality defense rate mod on there as well. So even a 1 of 10 is going to get you. Just use any quality defense rate mod if you don't have a gilded shard. Now, say you don't have your 10 out of 10 defense rate mod yet, but you went and you got mass destruction. Well, you're still going to do the same thing. You're just not going to have the double stack. You would just use mass destruction instead of regular destruction for a little increased value there. So as you're progressing into the game, before you get all of these fancy shards, just use the best thing you can. Like if you're brand new and you're just getting into expeditions and unlocking your experience, you likely are definitely not going to have mass destruction. You likely may not even have defense rate. Figure Dragon's Haste and, say, a destruction is not going to be a great setup. But are you going to have a great setup when you're just learning and progressing through the game? Of course not. So just use the best things you can, the best things you have, with the best things you find. I never really encourage anyone to grind prior to making it through to end game for anything in the game other than shards, as shards are the building blocks of the game and will define your experience. So that is just a look at how I build my Dragon's Nest. I do love using them. I like the Countess. I think thematically she is absolutely awesome. And additionally, the dragons are cool. I mean, who doesn't like to have some dragons flying around? But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to let me know down below, and I'll do my best to get your questions answered. But thank you all so much, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.